This man noticed the little girl's hand. He could clearly see that her finger was broken. He quickly took the boy's ice cream, finished it in a few bites, and then placed it on the girl's finger. He then took off her hair tie to make a simple splint, but just then, the girl's father arrived and took her away. The man told him to take her to the hospital for treatment. Later, they arrived at the hospital. The doctor saw the splint and said that it was perfectly and timely done. If it had been a bit late, the finger might have been lost. The doctor asked the girl to get a CT scan. Just then, they saw the same guy who fixed her finger. The girl's father thanked him, but suddenly started coughing severely. David noticed that something was off and placed his hand on his chest to check, but the man mistook it as a rude gesture and said he's good. Moments later, the girl's dad began having difficulty breathing. Meanwhile, a major traffic accident occurred on the highway. Many injured people were brought to the hospital. The girl realized her dad's condition was only getting worse. She tried to find a doctor for her dad, but everyone was busy treating the victims and everyone ignored her. Suddenly, she starts screaming, but the doctors continued with their busy work. David was secretly watching all of this. Just then, a kind female doctor came to inquire about the situation, but just as she was about to check him, she was called by the surgeon for assistance. Her colleague then took him for a CT scan. David was worried, so he followed along, but in the elevator, the girl's father suddenly fainted. David and the doctor quickly brought him out of the elevator and laid him flat. The doctor rushed to get emergency equipment, but David took the opportunity and placed his hand on his chest. He could clearly visualize his heart. He realized that the man was in cardiac arrest, but the doctor came with a simple respirator. David requested him to check the heart, but the doctor ignored him. He then stopped him and told him to check the heart immediately. When he checked the heart, he found that the man had no heartbeat. David asked the nurse to bring the defibrillator and asked the doctor to perform CPR. When the defibrillator was ready, he prepared to shock the patient. Luckily, his heartbeat was restored, but immediate surgery was needed. However, there was no surgeon free at the moment. Just then, a nurse showed up from the operating room and said that without immediate surgery, he could die any moment. Hearing this, the little girl started crying. She asked David to help with the surgery, but operating across hospitals would end his medical career. Just as David turned to leave, the girl grabbed his hand and gave him a coin. Seeing the little girl cry, David decided he would do anything he could to save her dad because